Start.
Ready?
Hurry up, stop.
I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Green Bay Public Arts Commission on Wednesday, November 23rd, 2016. City Hall, room 604, 7 a.m. 7:03. Yeah. Perfect.
Good timing.
I'd like to,
you wanna call the roll?
members, Ken Tutchison, I'm here. Matt Biro. Here. Randy Scannell.
Here.
Cheryl Rainier Wake.
Present.
And we also have Celestine Jeffries.
Here I am.
And also attending Dave Boyce,
Voice.
citizen.
And Pujo Weller. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We do not have any communications today, so we will begin with old business. Update on information from Public Arts Commission programs and rotating arts programs of other communities.
Okay. So I had sent you via email yesterday, I had one of the
Yes.
interns do a little research for me. No, I'm just putting that aside.
Okay.
So we can talk about, and if you just, I did send it to you, and I had a chance to read through, and also this Harbor Park Sculpture Walk. So let's first talk about the Harbor Park Sculpture Walk, the three things that I sent you. This Madison Arts Commission piece, and then also I did contact Arts Wisconsin and Katz, and she turned me on to, and I sent it to you as well, there is a public arts network, and they have some resources, so I actually sent everyone that page. So first, let's just do, I would suggest that we do, Kent, that we do a brief overview
Okay.
and really take some time to wade through the material, which I know I didn't give you enough time to do that. But
And that's not, and you just handed out one thing out of
This
the
is the
three.
blank
right,
there?
because there isn't much here. I did send this as a link.
I know,
Right.
I didn't print it off. so.
Oh, that's okay. And of
Okay.
course, I didn't print it off either. I made copies of this, but not this. So the Harbor Park Sculpture Walk is interesting. This is in Kenosha. And what they do, they have footings already in place, and the mayor had told me about this back in July when I met him at the League of Municipalities. They have 2 years is the maximum time that they can have a piece of art. The artist has to get a private donor, and that donor is put on a plaque saying, hey, this art was brought to you by American Foods Group. They give about up to $2,000 to the artist to do his or her work. And they also, all the art pieces are sold afterwards. They do have a few permanent exhibits. And what they did, this is actually a blog posting that I had sent you.
Yeah.
And what they do is they actually put this out there. They say, hey, here's all the art. They have, like I said, a few permanent pieces. And so they're basically advertising the art for sale. And they, in this blog post, there's descriptions of the art and the artist, and I'm not sure if the sponsors are listed. The sponsors are not listed, really. So that is, I think, a really good model. I don't have any other documents from Kenosha, so I would need to contact them to get some documents as to how they do that. But the mayor was actually very pleased with the program. He said that they sell all of the art that is on that sculpture walk. Now, granted, the Harbor Park is on Lake Michigan. So our analogous place is the Fox River. For now, I mean, I think eventually we'll have some things on the bay, but.
So there was $2,000
The East River.
money given to each project
Yes,
Trail, maybe?
from
Yeah,
the city?
yeah.
yes.
Wow. And this is for the temporary art?
Well, it's not from the city. It is from the Arts Fund of the Kenosha Community Foundation.
That's separate?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Arts
Yeah.
Fund, okay, I'll look
Maybe-
it up.
You know,
Arts
but
Fund,
when we-
Through the community foundation?
No, I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But we are talking about public art,
Right.
we've defined it very broadly, and so even though this is funded by.
Is there an event where they sell the art, like at an auction, or is it just they have some kind of website? I looked at the link briefly.
Right, this is,
It's probably just listed for sale, would be
I
my
think
guess,
it
and then
is.
contact the artist
Yeah,
directly.
Right.
that's exactly, we're totally gonna do something like that with our rotational art, but
Mm-hmm.
giving the artist some startup seed money seems like an interesting idea.
So the artist does have to go find a sponsor.
Right.
And that's actually a good segue, we'll finish this conversation, but a good segue into the Madison Arts Commission way of doing things. So, and quite frankly, it's a lot of funding agencies do that. You have to find matching funds. So the Catholic Campaign for Human Development, they'll give you up to $25,000 for 3 years, but you have to match or exceed it.
I would bet that most cities, I know we toured one, I can't remember where it was in Illinois, where we got the indicator from,
Oh, yeah.
have that same kind of
Okay.
concept where the city places the pads
Yes.
and finds this public space for the art pieces, and then some other entity deals with the art.
Okay,
Either the placement or finding the artists or funding the artists or those types of things. So
great.
So as I say, and I think this is a really good model. And so if you would like to, then I can contact the mayor's office so I can get some more actual documents from this.
That'd be fine. I don't think every piece needs a $2,000 startup fund, because I know I have several pieces that could go on display tomorrow that don't need
Right,
startup money.
that you just have the pieces.
And I'd love to show them and have the potential of selling them.
Right.
So the $2,000 seed money should be like a special, some kind of
Maybe the
circumstance.
permanent, there were some permanent pieces in it.
There were some permanent pieces.
Yeah.
Maybe that money would go toward the permanent pieces. Or
Good, yeah.
get to purchase the permanent pieces.
Mhm. And I like the idea of them finding a sponsor on the front end, so they're just not making a $2,000 sculpture and then putting that up. So, but,
Okay,
If
so
it
I
didn't go
will,
to a permanent sculpture, say it went to you as seed money,
mhm.
what does that mean? I mean,
That would just be a
you
grant to the
gotta give
artist.
it back eventually?
No, that
I think
means
it's a grant to the
Then why don't
artist.
you want some seed money?
well, that'd be great to have some seed money.
Yeah, the artist, this is the PAC.
Yeah, and
So-
and this is a different
Yeah, right.
funding
Yeah.
agency, like, we're within the city, we got a tight budget, we want to stretch that as far as we can, and, I don't, it's not necessary if you already have existing pieces, if, like, as an entity with a
Mhm.
limited budget, to just give $2,000 to somebody who wants to show their artwork.
You know, that might be something we look at, let's say we set this up and we can't find our work. You know, if a lot of artists like can come and say, well, I got a piece right here, you know, and we fill it and that's no problem, but, you know, if we put 10 pads up and
Mhm.
we have 3 pieces, then we might go,
I think we'll get swamped.
I think we'll have, I do too.
A lot of
I
starving
think we'll-
artists out there.
And then we do need to keep, you know, a caliber of artwork out there, we can't just
Well,
accept
that's-
everything.
Anything, right.
That's where you'd get probably some requirements for
so, and
dimension
Right.
and scope and those types of things.
And, quite
Materials.
frankly, when you scroll through the images of the art from Harbor Park, I mean, I think it all looks fairly solid to me.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm certainly no art
That's
historian, nor
very
I'm an
good,
art
yeah.
critic, but
Mhm.
they look like fairly solid, interesting pieces.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the Public Arts Commission, Madison Arts Commission. So I had the intern reach out to Karen Wolf, and Karen's super busy. I did reach out to Ann Katz, and like I said, Ann Katz had turned me on to that Public Arts Network, which has some resources, and she's going to dig some things up, which I will have for the next meeting. But in looking over the application for Madison, this, I think, is really, I think there's some key points here. First of all, and this is where we can offer some help, but proposed budget, right? So artists have to be able to say what their expenses are going to be, right? So I think that's really important. And on the Wisconsin Humanities Council, this is something that we ask for as well. Likewise, this I loved, the application self-check. So asking questions such as, I have read the guidelines. At least 50% of my total project matching funds are cash.
Yeah.
You can get in-kind donations as well. right? Because, let's say Tradewinds decides to sponsor some artists and, they would put their name up, like as we're sort of talking about sponsoring, and part of that sponsoring is giving in-kind donations to an artist. But we also want artists to have cash, because I think in many ways, to your point, Kent, and to your point, Randy, that I think it's important that artists are paid. So,
I bet they feel that way too.
Artists may have,
Understatement.
they may have pieces that they want to put in public art, then I should say on public display. I think that it's important that they get paid, but part of being part of this program is that they find cash money out there for their work. So I love the checklist. Then asking questions, very important questions, such as, have you gotten money from us before? I think that's actually pretty much up front. That is on, right, kind of 2 pages in. Have you gotten money from us before? Briefly describe your project. And they also accept applications from organizations as well as individuals. So I think that's good, because then that means schools can apply.
So like a school, like the school district applies.
Right.
And then they would hire the artist to place the piece? Or is that what I'm?
Yeah, I think a neighborhood association could apply.
Right.
If they have an art piece.
So basically you're applying for the spot.
The spot.
Place.
Well.
And then it's their responsibility to find the artist and work that piece there?
So those are excellent questions, as you always ask, Ms. Cheryl. So I think
my bureaucratic brain, right?
there you go,
That's
right?
good. That's good.
But I think that it seems like, Cheryl, and everyone, give your input too. It seems like we've got a couple of things going on here. So we've got the rotating art, right? But Madison, I'm not sure if Madison has a rotating art program. This is for just installing public art.
Oh, okay, that's not then, I thought that was.
Right.
They have a Blink program, which is
That's
temporary. But the school it's called Blink program. The school district would be an
Temporary.
entity that's applying for potential funds within the
Funds
UBPSC. That's also matched 50%.
Okay.
And then as long as the final project
Is public.
is public art, then
Okay.
they'd be.
Placed somewhere
Yeah.
where the
an
public can
eligible
access
entity.
it?
Where the public, so.
Not necessarily municipal land, it could be,
Correct.
Could be.
as long as the public can access
right.
the
Can
art.
see it.
Can see it and.
So you're in a
Okay.
public area, now granted, even though schools are public spaces, so for instance, let me just say that there is a tile mural in Aldo Leopold.
Right.
I would not really, I'm not sure, we'd have to talk about that. I don't think that's public art, because you actually have to sign up to get in there.
Right.
No, you can't just
And I
roll
don't,
in.
I don't think the district wants.
No, they
Roll
don't.
in
But
the
if that
schools
tile
either, but-
mural was on the outside, then that you could actually see from the sidewalk, that to me, from our conversations, would be public art.
So I looked up some definitions of public art, and it's literally just unimpeded artwork that's free.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Unimpeded.
Unimpeded.
Gotta be able to
So
look
like,
at it.
having to
Okay.
sign in to get into
Okay.
Aldo Leopold is impediment,
Yeah.
Right.
right? But like, even though that's on private space, the settler and
Mutual?
I should say the white settler and
Think mutual?
on Madison. So then that's that, and then Ann Katz, what I had asked her to do was to send me some information, I had sent you that link, but I'd asked her to send me some information regarding jurying art, and if she had, so when we get applications, we have to be able to discern what goes, what doesn't.
Right.
So discerning what we would want to put, if there's information out there about that. I could not get a job description from Madison, so I did send an email to the HR department at Madison to see if they can send me one.
Sure.
And then also, I asked
For
Ann.
Karen Wolf's position,
Yes.
essentially? Yeah.
I
She
asked.
sent me one, I could probably.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Then I also asked Ann Katz, because
Okay.
maybe there's some broader standard out there.
Okay.
But we're doing the jurying, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So jurying art, and then if there's anything out there in terms of standards for the condition of art.
And I have, I had girls up front helped me put this book together from the Riverwalk. We have all
Nice.
forms for the jury of the
Yes.
cases. So it's actually, we did interviews and it was a full process, where we worked as a committee prior to and then brought the artist in for interviews,
Mhm.
had specific questions about the pieces and,
Could you, if you find those?
yes, I'll email,
go ahead.
I'll just,
What happens if
email
we,
everybody?
Yeah.
we like
Let us
everything
put
but
it
the
to
final
the
product then?
Well, let's see, it's on the agenda item, and so let's put that on the
I'll
agenda.
get it to you, how about I'll get it to you?
Get it to me, and let's put it on the agenda for the next time.
Okay. All right. Is that all you want to do for the old business there, Sostina?
Well, and 501.
501c3.
Yeah, so we
For
can,
item number 1, I meant?
yeah, that's all for item number 1.
Okay. Item number 2 is update on
501c3, yep, we can use the cities.
Great.
SEC.
Update on .gov extension?
Still working on it, I still don't have any answers, which is really weird, but,
Okay.
I sent you the receipt for the
Oh, you did?
just this morning.
oh, okay, all right,
Just as smart.
Yeah.
It's an early
Got up
riser.
at 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
okay,
He doesn't sleep.
it's there.
So that potentially for next time, okay?
yep.
Update on intern job description?
So I am working on that. I also did ask, I had sent something to Lynn Boland. I think Lynn has had some police and fire hires, and so I think she's been a little busy.
Intern job description, though, that's the UWGB students?
That's correct.
Okay, all
Yes, that's right. And also sent something to Marcelo Cruz. So I should have that completed by the next time.
right. Okay, great.
2 weeks is a tight turnaround, I have to say.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
New business, discussion and possible action on Pooja Weller application to the GBPAC. So, with us today, we have Pooja Weller.
Morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so what you have to do is you can say something and then.
I make a motion to open the floor.
Right.
Second that,
So you understand that, Kent and Matt?
Yes, you
Okay.
can't just start talking to her.
to the public.
Yeah, to the public.
Right.
The citizens, we need to open the floor.
All in favor, opening the floor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Hope she doesn't fall through.
The floor is open now.
Ignore him.
How many times have you said that?
I don't
You
know.
must
I
have said
don't-
that.
yeah.
joke a lot. So, a while ago, I approached Pooja and asked her if she'd be interested in this because we've had experience working on projects together in the past. She's always been very proficient in what she does. She's always been very timely. Getting back has never been an issue. She's very arts savvy, I would say, and she has a lot of connections in the art world, and I think she'd be an asset to the GBPAC. Pooja, I believe you have a song you'd like to sing?
Tap dance?
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions for Pooja?
Well,
Did you all get to see my resume?
yep.
Okay, so, so you do, I understand that I have experience in a lot of the marketing world and product development stuff, but I am on the board of directors at the Art Garage, executive committee, and I'm marketing chair. So that's currently what I do. My term there will end at the end of 2017. It's every 2 years. It's with an option to stay for an additional year that they give for transition. So, but what we've managed to do in the year that I've been there, I think and I don't know, Kent was there at the annual meeting.
Oh, annual meeting.
Oh, you were there?
You're talking about the big...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
gathering,
I thought
yeah.
meant it was just a board.
Oh, no. the
Yeah, yeah, I was there.
annual-
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
so you can see, I don't know if you saw, but it was very different from what we've had in the past. We try to open our doors to, what we're trying to do more is open our doors to the community, and that kind of bridged together what Kent talked to me about when he talked about the GBPAC. Because I thought, wow, if there's any time when stars can align, we'd be like in this scenario, our garage really wants to be more inclusive and not, it's changing its methodology in the way they work with artists. And I think that was our first priority so that we could actually enhance opportunities for artists there. And when Kent mentioned what the GBPAC, what your long-term goals were, it really did align. I did check to see if there's some conflict of interest, and there is none. So it would be an honor to be a part of this commission. And I do feel that I would bring value, just through my connections from all over the world. You know, I grew up in Hong Kong and I have connections in Los Angeles and
You grew up in
New
Hong
York
Kong?
City. Yeah.
Oh, we need to talk.
And they're all somehow arts-based. So a lot of the people that I know own arts businesses, have dealt with marketing arts businesses in those places. So between Sotheby's and all of the bigger players, you know, we'd actually be able to get our artists out there, you know, as opposed to, you know, focusing on their skill sets only here in Green Bay, but to potentially, you know, make Green Bay the place of Midwestern arts. So that's my vision. Unfortunately, sometimes, you know, I mean, there's always there's that lofty goal. You try to do what you can take to get there. But I think it would be an amazing way to get that. And we do have great artists in the city. From everyone that I've met in my time there at the Art Garage, I mean, every single one of them is unique and different. And I think that's where we have our voice. So does anybody have any questions?
We do have, we're going to be hiring, or asking probably liaisons from both Mosaic and the Art Garage.
Mhm.
So you wouldn't be the liaison, that connection necessarily. We just want you to
No.
be all
Yeah.
GBPAC.
Yeah, that's right. I just wanted to say that, you know, like, what they're doing there, and so I understand that. So if there was any times when we'd see like a bridging situation,
Right.
you know, then I would be aware of that. You know, since because the liaison, I don't know that person would actually be on the board and stuff, so.
They wouldn't be able to vote, but they. I think
Exactly,
they
so
could
then
vote.
that's where I want to make sure that, you know, we're not multiplying
Right.
the same efforts in the same space, you know, sort of deal.
Cool.
Just so that, you know, so that we're all using our time very, very effectively.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds crazy.
Do you think you'd have any issues with making the meetings? I mean,
In
any
the mornings?
conflicts or?
Now that I know the room.
Yeah.
And where to park.
Okay.
Which means I need to get you a hang tag too.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, you get a parking
Well,
sticker,
we-
so you,
I put 45
Yeah,
minutes.
after
in-
after the
And
fact.
then-
you'll get a parking sticker in there.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So that was the only trying to figure out where I was running to. Turns out it's the exact same room for the asking for the art the outside money, like to fix the walls and everything at the Art Garage. It was this is the room like where
Oh.
everyone.
RDA?
Yeah,
Block grant, redevelopment
Yeah.
authority,
Yeah,
block
right.
grant.
RDA,
Yeah,
yeah,
block
yeah.
grant.
Yeah, this would be the floor. Yeah, I always say, we have a small committee, so it's important that members attend the meeting. because-
Yeah, no.
Right.
There's
Um,
work to do. There's a lot of work to do.
Yeah, when I commit myself, and this is the funny part though, 'cause when I commit myself, you'll see me here a lot.
Great.
Whether you want to or not.
Now, did we need her to stand up and give her address as well? With the, when we open the floor, we usually get a name and address.
Yes, that's right. So if you would state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name is Pooja Weller, and I live on 2203 River Trail Court in De Pere, Wisconsin.
Okay.
So first order of business is finding your place in Green Bay, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, right downtown, right downtown.
I work for the city, it's my job, I just
Yeah.
order all the time.
I'm an all for the city, so I
lived
just-
downtown Green Bay when we first moved here 6 years ago. I lived right down the street. Where
Oh,
Perfect.
Yeah, and then my son wanted a background playground.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Pooja?
No, you,
Motion
Okay.
to close the floor?
a second?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, the floor is closed.
I
Okay.
make a motion that we recommend Pooja for the committee to the mayor.
Oh, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, motion
Okay.
carries.
So then what happens is, so we make a recommendation to the mayor actually makes all the appointments to the commissions and boards.
Mhm.
This will go to the December 6th city council meeting.
Okay,
And then the council has the final say, but it's
right.
pretty much a,
Yeah, there's usually not much kerfuffle.
Yeah. I actually know the mayor's wife and the mayor.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so that might help.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you,
Great.
Pooja.
Thanks, Pooja.
Yeah.
Feel free to
I
stay.
get to leave? No.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
If you want to.
you can leave if you want, but.
No, you're fine. As long as, well, I'll leave when my time's up.
Yeah,
But-
8
but-
o'clock is when we start ticketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I didn't have to pay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, you didn't have to pay.
It's okay, I did.
But we thank you. The
Yeah.
city is richer for it.
That's
Yes.
right.
Okay.
The general fund.
Okay, thank you. New business number 2, this is, okay. Discussion and possible action on creating an action plan for the next 6 months. This is essentially, we're gonna create a timeline here, like just throw some dates on the calendar, try to figure out what we think we're capable of.
Okay, so really our capabilities with regards to the project we want to work on, the placing of the public art, is dependent on money. So there's a recommendation that we receive some funding from the state income
Correct.
tax.
It is $75,000 right now.
And when will that be
We got dinged.
finalized?
What?
We got dinged.
Oh, don't.
It's not
No, It's
done.
okay, because some of us didn't get any, but, so 75,000,
We're not done yet, though.
and that, I'm saying that goes to council,
It goes to Finance Committee next week and then council on the 6th.
so December 6th, the final determination for those tax
Yes.
dollars that we made. So at least then we will know, like, our status of
Well,
funding. to
And we
May
do
I
it.
can
just
still
say-
lobby, we can still lobby, so show up at the committee.
May I
Okay.
just say, final determination, but of course at council.
pitchforks
anything
and
can
torches.
Yeah,
happen.
council is,
So-
right,
That's, okay.
so.
Yeah.
Does anybody know how that happened?
Yes,
So it was a lengthy, it was a number of meetings, right?
it was.
Back and forth, it was,
Yeah,
Where
they,
who is getting?
They shuffled some of the money
They
around.
shuffled money.
Yeah. And I'm not sure why some of them did what they did. I didn't get a chance to talk to them.
Well, I can discuss that with you offline, if you'd
Okay.
like. I can provide a full explanation.
Okay, but we can still do some.
but the council
lobbying
makes the
efforts.
final,
Right.
is gonna make the final call on that, so.
Yeah.
I suspect there'll be a number of agencies and groups
Yeah,
there.
and it
They're
might,
gonna play for money,
even when it gets
so-
through committee, it still might end up getting tweaked at council.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not a done deal until it gets through council.
Okay, all right, all right. So now they're recommending 75. Wow, okay, that's too bad. Okay, so we'll know by the 6th whether or not that money's coming to us.
Right, or how much money's coming to us.
You'll know the recommendation out of finance next week, next Tuesday. The
Right,
Finance
but-
committee meeting is at 4. It seems to me like the finance committee is going to essentially, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do.
I was gonna
but-
show up at that one and,
Yep, that's next Tuesday at, I think it's at 4 o'clock,
yeah.
What's the date of that?
29th? Yeah, 29th.
I have my own ideas on distributions of funds.
As I'm sure other council members probably do as well.
Yeah, yeah. Though
So-
we've made it harder, what I wanted to do now that we've robbed the money for infrastructure of them, because parks really
Look at
should be
that.
taken out of that.
Mhm.
So I'd like to put everything that's in the ED that's going to parks, put it into infrastructure, but I don't know how many people are gonna be willing to take from there again now that we've already robbed it of $1 million.
Yeah,
That makes sense. But that's where it should come from.
okay.
So that's where we are. So in terms of an action plan, I think there are a few things that probably need to get done even in the next 6 months. And 6 months from now is April? Yes,
Mhm.
late April, early May. So let's just say early May for the sake of argument. The students at UWGB won't start until the summer.
Mhm.
So I think in terms of getting an action plan and that could help to
Yeah.
order our agendas.
We can't wait on the students to get some GIS mapping done. We're gonna have to start doing those somehow.
And how would you propose that?
Well, the,
It's free help. It's
it is free help, but that's
It's free.
also like 9, how many months from now?
Yeah, they should be probably finished, I would imagine, end of July.
Yeah.
Well, we get the pool money,
Mhm.
right? Out of that, we have to figure out, are we gonna staffing?
Mhm.
How much is left for the actual pad installation if we wanna do
Right.
this?
Which
How, do you know what I
potentially
mean? Like, is that what
blockers.
we're gonna use it for then? Is-
Right.
Or maybe we say that we're gonna work on that next year once we get the, you know what I mean? I think that's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm thinking in my head, how we'd look at that.
Okay.
So I think we need to come up with a description and a potential amount that we want to fund the arts administrator.
I think, doesn't HR do that?
HR has a great input into that.
Okay.
So is that the first thing you want to do, is to fund an arts administrator?
Well,
You know, that's
potentially.
Yeah,
To staff the committee.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we
So
gotta
I'm-
get
I'm just writing this
staffing
down.
in place before we
because that person's, one of their roles is going to be for funding programs, projects.
Fundraising,
Yeah.
coordination,
Yeah.
As soon as we
all
get that
that
going.
stuff, you know what I mean?
Okay, so, so what first has to happen is that we need a job description. And,
I took a little bit of what, you sent a link to Americans for the Arts, which is
Yeah.
an exceptional arts resource. Like, it's just so deep and vast. And they just link everything. So you can go there, and one of the things I looked into is the arts administrative roles. So they have resources on public art, if you're an entity just getting into public art, if you're gonna hire an arts administrator, suggestions on the roles that they have. And then these are the suggestions. For arts administrative roles, they have program management, research planning and evaluation, project management, marketing and outreach, community engagement and advocacy, collection management, conservation and maintenance. I don't really understand that one entirely, but funding for programs. and
conservation is
projects.
about the art, so essentially, you're an art conservator, so like at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, you
I
have an
see,
entire
sure,
department
right.
that's all they do is
Okay.
conserve the art.
And then, so funding, fundraising, and then contracts and legal issues. So this is gonna be a role that has some responsibilities. And I think this is a pretty good list of roles that we wanna assume for this position.
So,
Yeah.
did it say anything about fundraising?
Yeah, I
does.
think it
It
did.
does, I've missed that, so what does it say about fundraising?
Funding for programs and projects.
Oh, okay, okay.
Fundraising.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was thinking all of the above.
Yes.
In some capacity. I mean, not at a New York level, but you know what I'm saying?
What?
We'd need that.
Yeah, right.
Probably
So,
100
More of
people
like
right
a
now.
Brooklyn level?
No, more like a Green Bay level.
so if we
Smaller
could
scale.
maybe work with humanities and, so I thought there were two different ways we could do a contractual route, or we could do an
I think you-
internal.
Right,
HR would
it's-
need to talk about that.
Okay.
Right, because I'm thinking we do contracts for outside services, like our historical preservation
Right,
person
right.
is under contract.
Okay,
And that's, I think, an annual renewal type of thing, right?
It is at the council's discretion.
At the council's discretion. And so that comes in the budget. And then there's also, like we have, for example, the Green Bay Neighborhood Leadership Council has a
Right.
part-time position. That's run through HR,
okay.
but it's funded by the Leadership Council. So when I have to replace that position, I have to go to HR.
Right.
To get it replaced, and then they help with the interviews, and they, you know what I mean, they do the work for that. And then but I also have to go through them to establish pay grade.
Right.
So
If
they
it's
do
budgeted.
they will do
Okay.
the, kind of the comp study type of
Right.
deal to establish.
That kind of
that
takes the
level.
council out of it, though.
A little bit, right, because then it's not an annual budget
Right.
type of thing.
Right.
And it wouldn't be so bad because we would pay for that position, which means it's not on the levy. So come budget time, it
Right.
doesn't affect that, so they
That's true, it
can't,
won't affect the levy.
they're not gonna cut it. We gotta cut this position because we
Yeah,
can save some
well,
money.
you know,
We'll make
some
a
will
difference,
anyway.
but- Yeah, they will anyway, but,
But,
you know what I
no.
mean? So I think
So there's
maybe we can have HR attend a meeting.
That'd be great.
Someone attend a meeting if possible to talk
Next
about that.
meeting.
Or if you wanna talk to HR about that
Right,
and get a report from them on
Yeah,
how they would
absolutely.
recommend how we would do that.
I absolutely will do that.
Yeah.
But it's also, so it's the
contract or-
intern position, and it's also an arts administrator. There's a lot to put in place here. And I think that, first of all, the condition of the art, we're about to hit winter, right? And you want to be able to see everything in the
Right.
public art, that's in the public space, and I don't know that winter allows us to do that. And so, of course, we could have a warm winter like we did last year, with very little snow. And so I actually don't think it's inopportune for us to wait for the UWGB students.
Well, okay, but I do think we need to create the infrastructure for work to be done. And if we don't know where the piece is going to go, that infrastructure can't take place. Like, we were not gonna be installing work in February.
Right, no.
But we need to know where we're gonna be installing work in February so that we can install it
Right.
actually.
But that's a different thing. So the GIS students are basically finding the art that's in the public space.
It's already existing.
Right.
They're only gonna do that one GIS?
Yes.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with our, like,
That's what we're
grads.
saying.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't.
We can, I think,
understand.
do that, it's just,
We can, because now,
Decide where
actually,
we'd
in
like those
winter time,
pieces
it's
to
a
go.
good time to work with public works, parks, and with neighborhoods to find spaces for us to put footings.
Right.
Like I said, we've got 2 strains going here. We've got footings, and then we have, because footings do nothing for murals, right? So we've got footings,
Right.
and then we've got,
Buildings or flat spaces
Correct.
Mhm.
among other,
or flat,
Can you
ground.
think of anything else,
pathway.
Matt, that would be like a platform for public art? Like smokestacks maybe, or,
why not?
Or house sides.
Or
of
even
houses.
something
Bridges.
digital.
That'd be smoking.
Like, I'm thinking of, okay, so this is really
Yeah.
stupid, but you know those, you get, they advertise them on TV for people like me who don't want to go out and put lights on my house.
Projectors.
Project, right? And so I was thinking, well, wait a minute.
Projectors?
Okay, you all remember after long after September 11th, maybe 4 or 5 years, there was 2 very high-powered beams.
Right, that went straight up? Mhm.
Right, so that's art, although it's not
There's an
permanent.
element of installation. I mean,
Right,
you look at Chicago's, right in front of Grant Park, Millennium Park, where it's 2 big screens.
oh yeah, I love
So,
that,
like,
right, right,
It's always an
yeah.
electronic thing, but
Right.
it's hard to plan for any of that, just because it is kind of a standalone thing that, besides
Yeah.
money and space, you can't really
Right.
make a platform for it. But
Yeah.
I think those are the 2 main ones, and we can always change or adapt.
Well, and we could,
Interesting
we
idea,
can, we can start small. I mean, we
Yeah.
can put 5 pads somewhere.
For sure.
Right.
And
I think that
increase
makes the most
that
sense.
through, you know what I mean? We can add as we
Yeah.
go, so.
Right.
We can get, even if it, depending on our funding and how money works, I mean, even if we can get 3 up,
If we could
we
get
get
3
something
up,
done, you know what I mean?
I mean,
That would be great.
yeah. I think so.
That would be phenomenal,
I think
because-
Harbor Park has like a dozen,
Yeah.
but like I said, it's also kind of a straight line, and I don't know that we're necessarily, because we have some of that on the river, but I mean, I love the idea of neighborhoods actually having a rotating art place, like smack in the middle of their neighborhood, like I got a
Yeah.
great place near me.
Right, that would be
Right.
cool.
Rotating
It
art.
took us like a year to place an art piece on the river.
Right.
Okay.
By
So-
committee, just for the
Yeah.
steps it takes to.
Mhm.
So I do
Right.
think, so number 1, I've got arts administrator, number 2, I have fine footing locations.
Yeah, it's something we can all contribute to at this point.
Yeah, right.
But we also have, we have to get all these documents together. That is gonna take us some time.
Documents?
Like applications, like, right, contracts, like,
I will work with you on that,
okay.
because I think we've got, just looking, I've got every contract for every piece we've got in the
Yeah.
river here.
That's
You
great.
know,
And
Yeah.
how should we post those? Like, how can we have a bank of those, like, have access? Like, do we use Trello?
You mean like a blank contract?
Um,
Like, I mean, like this kind
like
of?
No,
the
no, just like
information that
how-
we're sharing,
Yeah. Like
how
all
to
of our
get it out
files
to
and
everybody,
stuff.
that was.
Right,
Where
so
we would-
Trello, so I did have, I did take a look at this. I need to bring this to the law department, because we did take a look at Trello's terms of service.
Mhm.
The concern from law was that it was whether or not we could actually post their things on our website. It seems like the answer is no.
Okay.
So,
But we can post
although
them, wait,
we can't use Trello,
we can
like,
use our website.
so through
That we
this,
link?
well, that we could post it on any website, even
Oh,
if it's
wow.
just DBPAC's. Right. It doesn't seem like Trello's terms of service allow you to use this,
Well,
what they
it's
do in
from
order
their
to
end.
post documents to share.
But I think Trello is more for like this group to organize and figure out where our stuff is
But
at.
what we do has to be in the public
Right.
sphere. That's the
So
concern.
Joe Schmo can access it.
Right.
Public committee.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, otherwise we're working undercover.
Right.
But I can have a personal
Walking
file
forum.
That's
of all of these contracts, just so that I can have access to them.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, that, now granted, that is an open record.
right. That's an open record.
Yes.
And,
Well, it's kind of close, now it's open.
Now then, lawyers.
It's an open record because they're contracts with the city. yes.
Correct. And so, what
They're
happens
co-contracts
is, if
with the
somebody
city.
requests that as an
Right.
open record, then the lawyer will go in and copy
lot
and
of art pieces
redact
on
there. Okay.
information that shouldn't be in the public sphere. But, so I
Okay.
mean, documents are a big deal.
We can have it on the website. I mean, we can have links to forms and stuff.
That's easy.
Yeah,
But it's the information in the form,
right.
or the information.
oh, yeah,
That
Right,
we're
I think
sharing.
that's-
You're just talking blank form.
that's right.
Oh, yeah, then blank forms, that's
Okay.
that's on the city website. And it should be on the city
I
website.
think we're doing pretty good with the forums, like that, Madison is gonna give us a huge leg up because they have a lot of synonymous type grant
Right.
program opportunities.
Synonymous?
Forms aren't, I don't think are
An
gonna be an issue. It's really gonna be
application.
this body deciding on what goes in the forms.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying, like,
We're probably gonna have to write some new stuff in regard to our rotating arts, revolving arts program. But I think we can base it off a lot of existing stuff, and I don't think it needs to be too complicated.
no.
But I will tell you, creating those documents, that will take, once we find them, then edit them for our own use.
Right.
And then I have Shelby, our media web person, actually design PDFs, writable PDFs. What do you think, Cheryl? 3 months?
Well, we have the contracts already set.
Right.
These are approved by the city council and the law department for the city. So it's just a matter of using the contracts we have in place.
In
Or
place,
the legal
okay.
contracts for placement.
Right, but then
That's
that's
done.
But is that like an application to do something? Or is that
No.
once you've already decided
This is,
we're
this
gonna
is the,
do
just
that?
the law
Right,
part.
Right,
So,
right, right.
which actually takes sometimes the longest, but
Right.
this kind of stuff, I don't think that's gonna take that long to go through these.
You don't
to be
think it'll
honest with
take
you.
3 months?
No.
Okay.
And like I said, I believe we have, like the jury pieces, the interview forms, the questions that we can tweak as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
Just for these, and if they're acceptable and,
So
use
the-
those, and we can use those, it'd be easy.
I think
Okay.
so. So the ones
So then,
that,
what would you say, 2 months then? Because, we have to
Yeah, December's not
have
gonna
the
be a great
form,
month, just. for
right?
timing.
Then we all have to, so we have to edit it. Then we all have to approve the edited form. Then we have to, and then whatever edits need to take place, then Shelby can do them as
Yeah.
a PDF. I'm thinking 2 months.
I'm thinking
Turn
2
it
months
around.
at the max, because we really only have like 2 different contracts that we're really gonna need to refine. One is the annual grants application. The second one is rotating art on, like, we need an application for the artists to sign that are contributing artwork to the rotating art. That's, shoring up liability, time, all that stuff. So I only see 2 contracts. What do you guys see?
Yeah, but I see, I love this.
Mhm.
This is thorough. And when I have done grant applications myself, when I see this kind of thing, then this actually is a guide as well as an application. And
Yes.
so,
Yep. But most of it's already there.
it is, it needs to be tweaked though.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's,
And if it takes 2 months, that's fine.
I think what's gonna take the longest amount of time is finding the sites,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
don't you?
So,
And like
okay,
getting it
so-
approved by
Finding the
Public
sites.
Works.
I'm
Every
gonna
public,
say-
every public art project, funding and permission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm gonna say
There you
2
go.
months for the documents. And finding the footings, I'm gonna say, that's lengthy.
I reached out to Steve Grenier, because he,
He's on vacation.
yes, that's what I've come to learn. But he wanted to be updated on things that would be impacting public works and things of that nature. And so we had a good conversation on the front end of the GBPAC, and so I'm gonna be just getting him updated with our vision and getting him on board as much as possible.
Well, and depending, if we decide as a committee, depending where these pieces are gonna go, if we decide to put them all in parks, it goes to park committee, it doesn't go to public works.
Correct.
That's interesting. Okay.
So-
Who's the director of park?
Don Kramer.
Don Kramer.
The Life of the River, all of these pieces went through park committee, and the park committee actually gave our arts committee, through the leadership council, the ability to choose the pieces. So we didn't take any of the pieces back to the park committee
Okay.
and council for approval. They kind of gave us that
Right,
ability.
mhm. Yeah, and I think that's.
Which worked well,
Yeah,
so there wasn't,
That's how it'll go, I'm sure.
but that's a park.
Mhm.
So I think Public Works might be a little bit more difficult just because of all
Yeah.
the multiple levels of regulations with
Right.
streets and highways and
Okay.
visibility and that type of thing. So we might want to consider maybe putting them in areas owned by park.
Definitely, we
Well,
will.
We might.
Pedro
Possibly.
is going to be in a public building.
We-
On that note, we should
Yes.
get moving.
Yep.
But I
Okay.
think
Okay.
if we do see a location that we see would
be
be
a good piece,
a good
place.
spot, just make a note of the intersection or where on a street it
Mhm.
is, so that we can refer to it in our next meeting. Let's try to have.
You know,
as
I'll
many
send
of
out an email to the neighborhood association presidents too.
those. Great idea.
And I'll just say, hey.
Where
can
would you love,
If you could have a piece of art in your
High
neighborhood,
visibility,
high visibility,
Explain that this would be rotating.
rotating,
Right.
you know, where would a good
or
place for that be?
potentially permanent. This could be permanent also. We're looking at potential locations for public work.
Okay.
Right.
And one of our things is to implement rotating art. The other one is to implement permanent art. That's something that we want to do, is get permanent art in
Okay.
there also.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Okay, so item number 3 is discussion with possible action on Pedro the Pelican. So we haven't had a formal discussion on Pedro in this meeting yet. So we haven't supported or not supported it. So I think it might be a good idea for us to support Pedro the Pelican.
Well, you might have to step down. You might have, vice president's gonna have to
Do I have
take.
to relinquish myself?
Yeah, yeah. No, well, you
You
can stay in the
can still
room.
sit there.
You just
can't talk.
You just can't, yeah. Unless we ask.
So I need an update on Pedro.
I'll give you everything that I know, speaking as common citizen.
And the artist Pedro.
And the artist
That's
of
okay.
Pedro, yeah.
I'd like to know from the artist the update on Pedro project.
So, I have the final design pretty much shored up.
Mhm.
And as far as funding goes, we have the $5,000 from GBNLC. We have Hotel Northland wanting to commit, or wanting to participate in the Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign, which would raise so,
Let me just correct you. It isn't the Hotel Northland. It is their
Company
PR
B.
firm, Company B.
okay.
When
Who
will it-
represents?
So when will that be, when will we know about that site? That's the question I have, because I kind of feel like that is the,
Yes, that is the site, that is the question.
that is the big question. for
And I
that
have not been
piece.
getting good answers from the city, except for,
From the mayor's office, you have not, that
No.
is correct.
and so, this is a project that is not city money,
Mhm.
that we'd be donating to the city, and potentially could be done in spring.
Mhm.
And we can't start the Kickstarter campaign until we
Have a site.
have some type of commitment from the city for the site.
Right.
And that hasn't happened yet.
Formal
We
approval?
haven't had formal approval, no.
What,
Do you have other sites as backup sites if this one doesn't fly?
There's been,
I love this site, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
I don't have faith that, so, I just don't know, I don't
Well,
feel
what are we gonna do to
confident.
make it happen? What are we gonna do to make this site work? Who's got to sign off on it?
Hotel Northland.
The Hotel Northland. is-
Company, not Company B, but rather the Hotel Northland.
And-
I thought they had buy-in.
Wait, and
That's Company
really,
B, that's.
no,
their-
we
But
have
really
more
the
than
city-
Company B.
Okay,
Not formally?
So,
No, formally. I've had I've sat down with Mike, and I've sat down with Keith, and both have given their approval and advocacy.
I did see an email to that effect, that is correct.
Can we identify our stakeholders and get written commitment?
Yeah.
You could, except that,
that you also need commitment from the city for the ramp, right?
that is correct.
Ultimately, yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, so it's essentially, hey, the city says, hey, if the Hotel Northland says yes, then
Mhm.
we are probably gonna be okay with it. It's not that the Hotel Northland is saying, we're waiting for the city to be
Right.
okay with it,
Right,
right? It's
right.
really,
The reverse.
and when I say the Hotel Northland, I do mean the two principals involved, which, like I said, Ken did receive an email saying, yes, this sounds great. There are just some other issues right now.
With,
So, right now, the hotel cannot make that firm commitment. That
Well-
is the issue.
But that doesn't mean Green Bay can't say that we will give you this location if the Hotel Northland commits to it.
So is it the Hotel Northland approval, or is it the fundraising piece, like setting up the Kickstarter and all of that?
It is not the fundraising piece.
So it's just them to say yes to something that they don't
It's a little
own but
more
are
than that.
affected by? Okay.
So the
Just
Green,
trying to
so,
understand.
just so that we're all clear, Green Bay can commit to that location,
I mean, the city.
yes. with and without the approval of
Technically,
Hotel
the city
North.
could, it's the city's grant.
Right,
they
it's the
could-
right.
Mhm.
So
The city could say,
technically,
yep,
it
we
is
want
the
them
city's
here.
grant, it's public
Regardless of
space,
what the
Right.
Northland says.
on all accounts, right?
Technically, they don't need the Northland's approval.
Well, that's what
I
I was
just
trying to
think
figure
it's a-
out why.
But I think it's because I think part of the issue was the Northland might have wedding pictures in that area, or what was it? There was, people are gonna view it, look at it, and they wanted to make
Can you
sure it was.
explain what the issue is?
No.
Do we need to go in closed
Can you give us
session?
steps to alleviate it?
Yeah.
Closed session is not noticed.
Oh,
And I couldn't tell you anyway.
Oh.
It's just that right now, they're just, the hotel is very interested in the project, but is not able to make that firm commitment to, for everything else, for all the other dominoes to fall into place.
Right.
do we have any idea when they might be able to? Can we,
I think, end of January,
oh,
February.
well, that's not too bad.
Well, that is not good. If we want
No.
to start the
The kickstart.
crowdfunding, that needs to start. We
But-
want to raise $10,000.
Why do you have to have that, like, I would fund Pedro the Pelican.
That's another,
Do you mean, like, I like that
Trust me,
project.
I
don't care what wall it's on, I just love that, you know what I mean? So for the most part, if you had a site, a public site for it,
What if there's just a GoFundMe?
we
yeah.
could start the campaign without the city's approval. I don't know if they'd like that, but,
I think it would be better,
As long as
actually,
you
if did
don't
that.
show Pedro on this, that parking ramp,
Right. Show them as a mural
to
piece.
show him as a mural piece.
Just show them as the outline of the
that's,
parking lot.
but I mean, part of it, everyone's going to be asking, where's it going? Where's it going?
I get that.
And that's not, it's going to be a total, like, harm and harbor to the project if it doesn't have a location.
I don't think
I
that you're
get
gonna be
that.
hindered in the fundraising by it knowing in January, if you have all your ducks in a row for that, if that's your last piece, fundraising is gonna be gravy, or get it in a month.
Right.
And you're still gonna be above when
agree.
snow's on the ground.
Okay.
Yep, I agree with that.
The other thing.
We have
I don't
a lot
wanna
of
bank on
confidence in
that.
Pedro.
The other
I don't
thing
wanna bank on
too, is that if this is going to be, the question that Pedro poses, I believe, for this commission, is to what extent does the commission get involved in art that it doesn't fund, that's on city property?
We help promote,
Well, and
Because
city
then-
approval, we can, so couldn't we,
But that,
Advocate for it.
then that means it needs to be applied for.
Just
Well,
to
yeah.
have, no, it doesn't need to be applied for it to
Why
get
not?
the
What would it be
advocacy.
applying for?
Because there's no
Space?
program.
well, I thought if we're gonna, not just advocate, but couldn't we take this to the council to say the council?
But why,
But
let me-
GBP
Well, hold on.
let's
supports
just
and
think this,
recommends.
why would you, if we are a public arts commission,
Uh-huh.
it's a question, I'm not providing an answer. If we are the Public Arts Commission, and we have a process for artists to apply, even if the funding is coming from some other source, but the art is going on public property, why wouldn't the Public Arts Commission put this through the process so that we can say, hey, yeah, to the city council, this is something we support on city-owned property?
I think that's different.
I think
than
we're not requiring-
advocacy. Like, we can advocate for something that someone's not applying for within our own. So if there's a project going on in Green Bay that the GBPAC should advocate for, that project doesn't need to apply for our advocacy.
But if it's on city property,
It does, I don't think it needs to.
We're not
Well,
end all be all.
if it's on
That's
city
part of the
property,
role of the
I think that's
PAC
the
is
process to get it
comment on
on the city property, to get the approval for the city property. How else is the approval made for that piece to get on city property?
right?
What, can you explain that one more time?
Okay, you want the piece on city property.
Yeah.
The city's gonna have to approve that.
Right.
So what's the process for that
They're gonna
to
say,
get approved?
they're gonna say, what does the PAC think about that piece,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's why we can, I
It's
guess we
part
need
of
to make
our-
that decision for ourselves. Do we need to have people
Yeah.
apply for our advocacy?
But it's on city property.
Not for our
I
advocacy,
know it's on city
for
property.
city property approval,
Yes.
through us.
Because otherwise it's.
Don't think of it as advocacy,
Okay.
think of it as city approval, they're coming through us.
Okay.
We're gonna go to the council and say, approve this.
That's fine.
But Ken, I
But do we
agree
need a
with you.
separate application for that, or?
No.
what-
No, this
No.
is the same application, but I agree with you that there's an advocacy, right? So if we had, so let's say, the Dome. Let's say the Dome wanted to do a mural. I'm looking right at it, right? Want to just do something, a mural, whatever.
And
Dum, dum, dum.
that is a county building, right? So that Public Arts Commission, this is the City of Green Bay Public Arts Commission, not the Brown County Public Arts Commission. And so we could say, hey, you know, to have a formal statement of support, that's an advocacy kind of thing. Or let's say Schreiber wants to put a sculpture or a water sculpture in front of their building in that little
Yeah.
plaza area.
Got it.
So that has nothing to do with the city, it has nothing, in terms of property, it has nothing to do with funding, because they're not coming to us for funding. We would have a statement of support for that. I mean,
Okay.
that's the advocacy piece.
So, okay, let's get together this application then, so I can put it in.
You should
action.
stop talking, but you should be running this.
Yeah, yeah.
Clearly, you are advocating for
Yeah.
Pedro.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is, I love Pedro.
I love
but,
Pedro too.
Right, this committee is, if I'm a council person, and there's a Green Bay Public Arts,
Council person.
right?
Yeah.
And there's a piece that's going to be involving the municipality, placement anywhere on city property or city buildings. I think you would say to the PAC,
What do you all think?
what do you think about that?
Yeah.
That's our role, actually, is to advise. I'm hoping they call us when they
Yeah.
want, you know what I mean, for these new projects and stuff. So we can advise, like, hey, this could really use a mural here, or this could use a sculpture piece, or whatever, you know what I
Oh.
mean?
Thank
So,
you.
Have a wonderful
Super
Thanksgiving.
I think Pedro,
Thanks.
will probably, at some point, we'll need to, when it's determined, you know what I mean, finalized, if it's gonna go on the ramp or whatever, we need to make a formal, I think,
Yep.
recommendation.
Yep.
Yeah, to the city council,
To this
to get
committee,
it.
to the council.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Well, to improvement service, and then to the council, so. 'cause
No, we don't have to go through, we're the
Yes.
committee, I don't think we need to go through
Yeah,
two
we do.
committees,
That will
do
need to
we?
go through INS
Yes, it
and the
will.
council for approval, that piece
Yes,
of
it will.
artwork.
This, Randy, this committee is advisory, and so it would need to
Yeah.
go.
Well, so is the INS, that'd be advisory as well, wouldn't it?
No, that's a standing committee.
Any piece
Oh,
of
I see what you
artwork-
mean in the,
Any piece of artwork.
not the action that's going to
Right,
take.
it's gotta go to Parks or INS, depending where
see.
it's located.
Okay,
and
I get it
council.
now. Yep,
Or
yep,
That's just
yep,
normal
yep,
process.
Right, right,
Property.
right, right,
Yeah,
right, right.
Or
I get it now.
RDA, so,
RDA is ripe for some art.
yeah.
So,
So Pedro, we love Pedro.
Yeah.
It's half funded,
yep,
artist is ready to go. We just
We need
need
to get
the,
our application in
final.
order.
Application, yep, so we can get it on.
so
The
that's
approval
why
for city
these
property.
documents need to be,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm just a stickler for documents,
but
but.
wait, why would, I'm still back up, why would, he's not applying for money. Why is there an
Because it's the
application?
approval.
It's on
the
city
It's
property.
the city property piece.
So, wait,
Yeah, we gotta-
so all you do.
We're not
If somebody were to come up and they were like, I want to do something on public property and I'm going to go through all the
Right.
rates and all the stuff on my own, like, that's fine, but you're like a lone wolf thing, whereas if we have this and they apply for this, then it's more of an easy, hey, we are like your person,
We will get the city approval.
we're like your
to put this on
representative to
public
go to
property.
city
All you
council and
do,
do the stuff.
so
that-
this is why these application documents need to be tweaked a little bit, because this says,
Yeah.
we're not, are you asking for money? No, I'm not asking for money, I already have my own money. But this
Okay.
is art that's going in the public, well,
In the
this is the
public.
Blink grant, but going in the public space. On
At
city
first,
owned space.
City owned.
I wasn't sure either
Yeah.
because we had talked about, because when initially even at P&W, like,
Yeah.
someone was like, oh, is this gonna be some sort of like arts, this is just gonna be you guys saying yes or no to all the things.
Right.
Like, that's what it almost seems like this is coming to, where it's like you have to come through us, but I don't know that you have to.
Right, no.
You don't.
We-
But it's
we're
much
good
easier if
facili-
you
Yeah,
do.
we're good facilitators.
By no means is this like an end all be all, this is the wall that you have to pass through to get anything on public property. No, that's not the case. You can go to city council yourself if you want, but this is an easy route that,
But the council, I would
Right.
say, well, would probably say,
They would
well,
just refer
Well-
it back
have
to
you been to the
public arts.
PAC,
Right.
right? So, all right.
So, I mean, that's why I think it makes.
it's just gonna help.
Right.
And I will just say.
It'll
Essentially,
formalize
yeah.
the process so we get more information with
Right.
regards to the
That's
piece and,
Right,
right?
right.
There's no
Just
reason
makes
that
this-
somebody
This
would,
project makes it a little bit more complicated, specifically.
Yeah, no, I get that, Kent. And
Actually, it
it's-
might be easier for you because you've got, most artists aren't as far as you are.
That's,
Right.
yeah, that's
So
true.
Right.
You're
It's
just
just
gonna
a
be
matter
like,
of filling
okay,
out a
another
form
form
for
I
you.
gotta fill out now.
right.
Can I say something? Yeah.
Are you back in or are you back out?
Yeah, it's
Is
not
this on
it's not
Pedro?
Pedro, no.
Oh,
Is he
okay.
back in?
Then you're back in, you're in charge.
All right, welcome back, Chair.
Thanks, guys. So can we look at this document for this application and share that up, like, stat? Because I don't want this to be a hangup if all of a sudden the city, and the other thing I had wanted to know is, there's no reason the city can't give approval for that location predicated on the Hotel Northland's decision. They can do that. You can do that tomorrow. You can do it today.
You know, Kent, I will just tell you that, but that is an interesting perspective.
The city's gonna wanna
Do you
work.
agree that that's a possibility?
It's a
It's
possibility,
not
but not
likely.
likely, because the city's gonna wanna wanna partner.
There's like,
I mean, if
you gotta
the,
play the game.
yeah,
But I think I'm playing a nice game that will all win.
You're playing a game, but the city has to, there's something with the city and Hotel Northland to get their stuff in order, and once they do that, then we can take what we need to do to get there.
Pending
but
approval of the Hotel
I don't think,
Northland,
I don't think you're getting the city to say yes, approved, is gonna do any better than waiting for them to get their stuff figured
though.
out.
I just want to make sure it's not a city issue, that it's just Hotel Northland. And that would clear that up.
I would say that right now, I don't think that it is only a Hotel Northland issue, because there is a little pushback from DPW about that ramp,
As far as maintenance or something.
about even putting it
Thing.
there. There's
Who did
still,
we initially, because this would never even happen if it wasn't for somebody that, at Public Works that said, hey, you could do something there.
Yeah, that was Steve Grenier.
That was what initially sparked this whole thing. Because otherwise we wouldn't have even thought about the ramp. It was like, hey, you could do something there, and we were like, okay. So then that's when this whole process
He's the one
started.
that said that he needs-
but you know, once you apply, and once we go get the city approval to put that there, that's when anybody can come
Right.
forward and say, we got a problem with this, or we love this, we can have all kinds of people fill the room, say, we want this, yeah, yeah,
Right.
and somebody comes and says, I'm not so sure about that, and then, but it's not their decision to make. It's still the committees,
Correct.
and then the councils.
right.
We
That
can
is-
wrap
So-
it. People will show up for paper.
So,
not
you know,
worry
and
about that.
I think that is kind of an interesting point that we always need, that we always need to reiterate, right? That Pedro or any other piece of art, if it's in the public right-of-way or on public property, will always need to go through the committee. It isn't even the director or the mayor even who can say, hey, yep, this is great, I love this, let's put this here.
Or
Unless
don't
the
love it,
mayor-
it's not
Unless the
gonna
mayor's
happen.
putting it on
Right.
in his front
Either way.
yard,
Right.
right, then he can,
Right.
you know, or Steve's put it in his front yard, or they put it in
So-
my front yard, but pay me, but yes,
Can
you
I
know.
can I make a motion that we work on even a minimalistic application with regards to public art, separate from grant monies?
Yep,
Just for a process to get public art
I'll second that.
through.
All in
okay, so,
favor?
wait, motion by CRW to work on a short, I'm gonna say a short
Short
application.
application for public placement.
Okay.
For public placement. Public placement without funds. And I think that's why we need to get this
Yep.
together,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because,
Now, the application will be short, but the print will be the same size,
I
right?
think so, right hand. We'll make sure that,
okay, and so that's from CRW and then,
Randy,
No.
seconded? No?
I seconded it.
and then
Oh.
call the, all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, we back to the chair again.
You can
Anybody
vote.
against?
No,
Yeah.
you can vote,
Oh, yeah.
but then Ken needs to abstain.
And Ken needs to abstain.
I'm abstaining.
Well, wait, this is just on the form, it's not for a specific project.
You don't think he needs to abstain?
No, because
But it's-
everybody's gonna use this form.
It's discussion and possible action on Pedro the Pelican.
Well,
Oh,
we didn't
Item.
vote on that, though.
no, but your motion has nothing to do with Pedro.
Well,
Sure.
it does because we want to get
Yeah.
Pedro.
I
But
think-
that short form is gonna be used by everybody.
I
That-
agree.
I think the actual.
I think
Yes, yeah.
Ken should just abstain.
It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt.
Heard, so it wouldn't look like you're, do you know what I mean?
That's,
It's-
I'm
If I were you, I would
abstaining.
abstain on that.
And quite frankly,
Better
you're
safe than
good
sorry.
because there's 4 people
And we
and
have us
it's a
here, so,
majority,
okay.
so that's okay. And then, do you want to make a motion, because it says to approve or deny Pedro. So an appropriate motion would be to,
Should we do that
Table-
before the
table-
applications?
Table- No, but I make a motion
on
to
hold.
table Pedro until the application
Yes.
process.
Yeah, I'll second
okay,
that.
All in favor?
W,
Aye.
table.
Against? All, anybody?
And then
Okay.
Kent,
Opposed?
you are,
I'm abstaining.
Opposed.
you're abstaining.
I was looking for the opposed.
Right, so
Cool.
unanimous with
Got it.
Kent abstaining.
That's good,
Let's just keep it clean.
that's good. Then we'll
Which
get that
table are we
out
gonna
to-
use?
Stop it, Randy. I'm gonna-
I
I'm
think
gonna- that's gonna have a
ultimately, we'll all
buzzer.
be using the big application, even for non-funded projects, but yeah.
But you know,
streamlining
until
For
we
now.
really get, that's,
least
because there might be
something.
some other public art pieces that might be coming through
Gotta have something to build
You
off
know what I'm
of.
saying? It'd be nice
Sure.
to be able to not
Okay.
Totally.
have to stop.
And here's the other thing too, right? Let's just say, just about, where are we now? Creative Ideas Forum. What time is it? 8:07. All right, so we're not going to get to all these agenda items. But let me just also say that I think it's really important to have applications for whatever art is, especially on any public property, because quite frankly, that helps for the Public Arts Commission 15 years from now,
Yeah.
right?
And it also helps drafting if we need contracts or those
Agreed.
types of things with the city, details and maintenance.
Cool.
I believe in the trash.
Okay.
There's something I wanted to mention. Okay, it's gone. Let's just quick, if we could just discuss possible action on Creative Ideas Forum.
Yep.
So this is a really interesting thing that I think would be really fun to do here. It would just essentially just be a grouping of people meeting, once a month. This would be monthly. That would, and I don't really know the role that GBPAC would have in this. Maybe just like supporting it and maybe giving a little bit of money so you could have snacks and stuff. But it would be an ideas forum for all types of ideas. Like if you have art ideas, if you have a discussion on politics, you could bring it up there. Philosophical inquiry, scientific advancement, performance art. This would be a creative ideas forum to pitch to a bunch of people who want to hear them and potentially that have networks and avenues for that person to bring that project, that idea, that talent into something else, to build on that idea, so that it's not just spinning around in your head, it's an idea for you to throw it down a hill filled with snow and for it to gain steam and momentum. So,
Sounds flaky.
yeah, sounds like you probably would have a lot of ideas for it.
I do have some, flaky. Not to mention it.
Yeah, so,
So how do you see the GBPAC's role, and how does this become something that is actionable as opposed to, people talking about lots of good ideas?
So it would be broken up in two different sessions. The first would be the quick revolving delivery session, and that would be maybe 8 people giving 5-minute conversations, 5 minutes, you're done. And then the next person comes up. And then at the end of the delivery session is the discussion and networking component, which is everybody getting around, handing out cards, talking about their ideas, and then, maybe the GBPAC, I could apply to the GBPAC, and it would be, they give $1,000 for a year, and that $1,000 pays for crackers and soda. So people can have something to hold and.
Man, just crackers and soda?
But, no, I mean, maybe we get some breweries to sponsor it or something like that.
We haven't received that funding yet.
Right, I'm just gonna get some coffee, I'll be right back.
I like that. I mean, I think that's a great idea. But do you think like the PAC would do this? Or I'm trying to figure out, this sounds to me like something
I guess,
would happen outside of this committee.
Yeah,
You're just
maybe that is.
rethinking,
Maybe
you know
that's
what I mean?
Yeah, unless it's a fundraising component, then yeah.
yeah, I think
Right.
what would eventually, I would do as an
Right.
individual person is apply to the GBPAC. I guess the reason I brought it up is this what I do? Like, I'd apply and ask for $1,000 and I'd find $1,000 and then we have $2,000 for the whole year to buy crackers and drinks for.
Oh, with the GBAC fund this to
That would be
happen.
the question.
If anything,
we get
I
any
would
money-
reverse it and I would say, hey, $5 to get in, just like soup, and then all of that
Right.
money goes towards either one of the projects or supports the GBPAC. Like, if we're gonna get involved with it, that's what it needs to be. But otherwise,
Could
if it's
be.
an open forum where you're gonna try and push GBPAC, what's preventing anybody else from also presenting their stuff and representing equally or more to where GBPAC is downplayed?
Oh,
And really, we don't have a program set up
Yeah,
for
I know.
dispersing any money
Right.
to anybody at this point.
Right, but
If
if
anything,
we haven't
need to-
decided if
we
we're
need
gonna
to
do
get
the
money,
art, you
so
know.
Right.
If
the
you wanna
fund
put on
that
an event that's like, hey, this is gonna benefit GBPAC,
Right.
it's $5 to get in, this
Yep.
is like the idea behind it. If you have
Mhm.
that, then it's different, and then it contributes to this bigger thing, and people
Right.
also have a reason to show up just based on you're
So-
helping GBPAC.
You
Right.
think if we charge a little bit of money at the door that would go towards GBPAC, that would
That or
work out-
making it happen.
Would that work better for the Creative Ideas Forum too, do you think? Or like, do you think people would be less apt to come if they had to spend $5?
It's $5, no? I mean, look at soup, there was
Maybe get free
a
beer.
couple hundred people there.
something at the.
Well, if the
component.
Is the $5 just gonna be used to fund the event? I mean, or we
We
can use it
could,
as a
but then,
fundraiser for
then we
ourselves?
absolutely don't need to be involved, because that would just cover it, probably. If you wanna do, hey, we're gonna do it
Hopefully it's
wherever,
a-
and we're gonna charge $5 to get in, all the money that shows up goes to GBPSC, then it's different. If you wanna do an event, you can do it standalone, whoever can do that, and then it's $5 to get in, it pays for itself, and you're doing it for the sake of a Creative Ideas Forum. But if you wanna use it as a fundraiser,
That's not a
then,
bad idea, the fundraising. Okay, well anyways, I'll have to rethink that because maybe it would just be a fundraising event. Well, if it is a fundraising component, if I do that, would I have the city or the approval of the commission to go ahead with that?
You would need, if you're going to do fundraising, I think you would need to have the approval of the commission. And you would need to set a fundraising goal as well.
Really?
But it seems to me like this is less about fundraising, more about awareness raising and generating,
Possible projects and,
helping to create that community, that artistic community.
That's why I thought it was relevant, is because all these ideas that potentially could be funding avenues through the GBPAC. And if it's a fundraising component, that's just like, it's some kind of
It's really
weird
a PA,
synergy.
then it would be a PAC event, GBPAC event. Like, we would sponsor it, we would
Right.
host it, right? We'd want to do whatever we're promoting ourselves, basically, for awareness, we
Right.
exist. This is, we're interested to hear your thoughts and
Is that
ideas.
something?
but you're gonna pay us $5 to do it?
Well, that's the discussion we'd have to have, is
Right.
the details of setting it up, I suppose. and if you
Is
think
that
it was-
interesting to you
It's
guys?
interesting, but I'm not, yeah, I like the idea of doing this, but I'm not
I like the
sure.
idea, but I don't know if I can commit to working on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
I think
that's
I would
something-
work on this.
This is
My
something
role
that
here,
I
I
would,
work on that.
I would work on, and probably just ask for your advice on things. So that would be no work to you guys, but is this something that we
committee.
think we would want to pursue? I mean, just for ideas. It doesn't, probably not gonna happen until next year anyways.
so there's, if you wanna go and do that, otherwise, I'm working on Boom Talks, which is similar, but modeled after like TED Talks, but
Oh,
it would
okay.
be something that, there could maybe be a component, or you could apply to talk about GBPAC or something to that effect, but it's pretty much if you want to have a standalone, or if you want to be a piece of a bigger thing.
Why don't we hold this item
Mhm.
and we can figure out more, because we got time anyway, figure out more just exactly how we want to connect it to
Or maybe
us.
you guys can talk about that component, maybe.
Okay.
Do we want to use it as a fundraiser, or do we
Mhm.
want to just, or do we want to use it where we are putting it on?
Yeah, it just needs to be
And
fleshed
so
out.
we're paying
Right.
for it. I mean, there's a few things
Yep.
to work out,
Mhm.
and we're tight.
Okay.
So I make a motion to hold this until our next meeting.
okay.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. I mean, the last one is just discussion and action on that.
What about the artist registry
Artist
database?
We actually talked about that. Are
Oh,
those
did
the
you?
interns? Is that what we're
No,
talking
no,
about?
no.
No.
This is coming up with a
Oh.
registry or a database of all
Okay.
artists in Green Bay and Fox
Oh,
Valley.
artists, yeah. I actually found the school connections that we had, but it's from 2011, but it actually is the phone numbers for all the educational contact people.
Is it?
But, okay, the artist registry, no, that's different.
Okay.
Is the FBI gonna want that?
Mm-hmm. They're artists. They're dangerous.
I know.
Low
You think?
indigency, like.
Is an artist registry something that is, you self-register?
Yeah, we probably do a call
Can I-
for
is this-
artists
Is this mine?
I can have, good.
that want to be on our registry. And I already tried merging with Mosaics, but they can't because of some complication in their contract.
So they have a registry?
They have a registry,
Is
yes.
it public?
It's not.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's no reason why we can't have our own registry that would be public.
That's right.
And people could register all that, I assume.
Yeah, why couldn't they?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, of course
but then
they can.
again, I don't know.
No, they can. They can register for Mosaics.
I think they can register
and then
wherever they
register
want,
for
right?
others, yeah.
As artists?
Well, it depends on whether or not there's the
Affiliation.
registration requires some sort of non-compete, non-registry, something or other.
Would
It doesn't.
Mosaic do that?
It does not.
No, it does not have
Okay,
that.
good.
Because
Okay.
she's willing to do a call for artists for us.
I was gonna say, would they be willing to contact their registry list and see,
Yeah.
let them know that there's another one out
I don't
there,
know if they
public for
can
public art?
contact their own registry, but they can do a call for artists that is for us that probably would go to all those people, so essentially, yes.
So, but I like your idea though, Kent. I mean, I think that Mosaic doing that would be helpful, but I like your idea, because it's like, if we're, DPW and Parks, they have a list of people purchasing, has a list of people that they send RFPs out to.
Yep.
And then other people, then it's publicly noticed, that's
Yeah.
something else that we need to do. And so that way we can get lots of, it's good to create a paper trail, especially around art. So I like your idea. I think Mosaic, contacting their artists for us is fine, but
Okay.
I think your idea is a better one.
We're gonna need that
Yeah.
Yeah.
at some point, RFP for pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have started.
So how do we
I have
get started
25
on that?
people. No, did at the.
Basically make a
Rush.
list, have people sign up. I
Like
mean,
Santa.
whether it's through like a MailChimp sort of
Right.
deal, or
Okay.
something where it's like you're gathering prospects and
Mm-hmm.
emails of artists and having them essentially sign up for what would be a newsletter, but then you have this list of information.
So how are we going to accomplish that? And what type of artists are we going to ask?
Well, we're gonna have to do a call for artists, I think, and then we could have
Or
something
you
on
have
our
a standing
website.
Google form,
So do we have a
and then you have a
website? now?
spreadsheet.
Is there a criteria for
We have the
artists?
domain.
We have the domains.
Is there a criteria for artists?
Right?
It would be these
I
four
gotta know.
things.
Right.
This is what I
I'm
got.
a doodler.
I like to doodle.
So,
Very fluent name.
I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy.
name, your medium, your website, your email.
Okay,
That's all it is. And then we get that.
so more than likely.
But what about what media you work in?
That's
Medium,
what it
medium.
says.
Oh, it
Medium.
did? Okay, I missed
Name,
that.
medium, website,
I did
email.
not sleep well last night. Okay.
So, we got.
And anybody can sign up. Doesn't-
Anybody.
I
Anybody
mean,
can sign
what's
up.
the main use of the database, the registry? 'Cause that will dictate what information you want. Do you want DOB, do you want,
DOB, oh, date of birth.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what, maybe we want, I don't know.
do you want
Age.
young, old, like, what kind of
want-
information do you want on your artist?
You don't
Because the
want
more you have, the
ethnicity?
more valuable this database
You're
is.
gonna gather that information?
You don't want
Publicly?
that?
I don't
I don't know
know.
if I need date of birth.
I think these are the only
But
pertinent
That scares me a
things.
little bit.
Do we care?
part.
Well, I mean, I'm just wondering about how do we get, is it some, I don't know what this world looks like. But like, when you are serving certain populations, you can apply for certain grant monies. That is all I'm saying.
What was
You know,
what was the information
Ethnicity.
piece? Oh,
I think,
not
Our
necessarily,
artists-
but interesting, because from the perspective of who's in our database, we can say there's, if we're aiming to get a more diverse crowd or more diverse artists or different cultures to blend, then we can make that a goal and say, this is what we have currently.
right.
It's basically, we can ask for whatever we want, people can fill it in or not, but whatever we have also
Yeah, you have
helps
to
us
have
in a
disclaimer.
Race is always optional, like even on the school district forms.
undisclosed or whatever.
That's what I'm saying, right, you'd have to do,
Yeah.
to try to gather
On college
data,
application forms, it's optional,
Right.
many of them.
to do it that
Job
way, but.
apps, anything. Basically,
see
the
our
more you
industry.
ask, the more valuable this registry is. If we only have a name and an email address, it doesn't really do a whole lot for us. But
No.
if we have as much information as we can gather and as much as they will give us, not only do we have a
So what-
database, we also have essentially like, who are the artists? What are they doing? Like, you can get a lot from a list.
And I think we have to make sure that we are putting it out there for all types of artists. So that means
Performance
actors,
artists,
that's
yeah,
right,
the whole
performance,
works,
visual,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right.
So maybe medium, medium,
Well, you would check visual or performing,
ah,
right?
that's right.
Well,
Or both.
It can go way
Or-
deeper. This is
I feel like
another
this is
deeper
gonna take
conversation.
another
Yeah, yeah,
30
yeah.
We're not
minutes to go
finishing
through
this
yeah,
today.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
I gotta
I make a
go.
motion that we hold this for our next meeting.
Okay.
All in order.
But,
Second.
All in
Okay.
favor?
aye.
Aye.
Hold
Opposed?
till next meeting.
Okay.
Okey dokey. I think that's it.
Chairperson's report and project update?
Oh, I got 5 things I'd like to talk about briefly. Just kidding.
Motion to
Did we
adjourn.
get all the receipts and
Oh, wait.
everything we needed from the last?
Matt just sent those to me.
Domain you
Cool.
can have,
All
yeah,
right.
so.
So I can
We're set
get
with
you
that?
a
Okay.
check, so I'll
Cool.
have bills and obligations for the next time. Any update informational from the chair?
No, he just said
No.
no.
None? Okay.
When can we have the website? you think?
Well, that depends on how much money we have for it, because we just
Right.
bought domains, we didn't pay anything for the website yet,
Right.
but that's
Chelsea, I
200 and
think-
some odd dollars a year.
I thought you said we might have some
200 a
money
year?
or something.
Yeah,
For a
absolutely.
website?
We could
Yeah.
absolutely do that website right now.
We could, okay.
Yep.
The
And the
one
domain
through the
name and all
city.
that,
Or are you talking,
funding it.
oh, okay,
Yep,
yeah.
we can do that right now.
So can I make or can I entertain a motion? to-
Nope.
No?
Not on the agenda.
Oh,
That's
do that.
okay, listen.
Make a
do you
motion to put
guys-
it on the agenda for
Do you guys
next
get
week.
together before the meeting, set the agenda?
Okay, so I sent
You should do that.
I sent you, we
So
didn't do
we-
that this last time.
Oh,
but-
okay.
yeah,
That might
I've been emailing her my agendas, like the things that I wanted to do.
We have to actually talk.
So I sent that
That's
to
fine,
you.
yeah.
I mean,
You
like,
have to stop.
face to face.
Make her
I
buy
can come to
coffee
your
or
house,
something.
whatever you want to do.
You can.
I could.
Well, maybe we'll make that happen.
You could make me paella. So no, I think that will be,
That, actually, we directed that at the last meeting, didn't we?
to create the website, yeah.
Yeah, didn't we? So
I
we
don't
don't
know.
even need to do that. Yeah, I think we did, didn't we?
But,
I thought we
but
did.
Matt was not in attendance
I
at the
wasn't.
last meeting.
I know, but we
We-
voted
So
on
what?
it, so I don't think we need to vote on it again.
No.
No,
Oh,
we already did that.
Make the website.
Just send the invoice?
That would be you. But we have, you and I would need to have a conversation about cost before you.
Let's have a conversation about cost at some point.
Let's have a conversation about
Adjourn.
That
cost.
sounds very costly. I made a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah.
Well, this is fun, let's do it again sometime.
But yeah, the
2 weeks.
the domain name, that's easy. The website